This will be fun. Tyler Link, Cesars Concrete. This company can sell for $30 million. If you got to 5
Oh, what are you doing?
I invested $24,000 into Alex Hormozi's book launch, and I had the opportunity to actually call in and get advice about my concrete business and how to scale it, and he did not hold back. In this video, I'm basically going to break down the full context of how I got here, the problems that we were facing, and what was basically going on that prompted everything that led up to the event where I had the chance to talk with Alex Hormozi, and that way I could break down the lessons that he gave me so you could apply them to your business as well. So if you don't know me, my name is Tyler Link, and I own a $4 million a year concrete business, and I also own Concrete CO, which is a marketing agency for concrete contractors. And essentially what was going on that prompted this whole $24,000 investment is over time, I've had a bit of a standstill inside my concrete company. Essentially, I was putting more and more effort and focus on my marketing agency because that's where my passion lies. I'm making good money there. And overall, that's just where I want the long-term direction of my life because it's basically what I'm passionate about. But the problem is I couldn't actually leave my concrete company because it's a family business. And essentially, I even told my father-in-law that I was going to leave, and he had basically a freak out moment, which makes sense because I run the sales, I run the marketing, I run like the actual part of the business that makes us money, and he helps managing the back end of the business, which is more the crew, the operations, etc. And I really don't want to screw over my family. So I was basically caught in a rock and a hard place where I want to go in a certain direction, but I really can't because then I'm going to screw over my entire family. So I called in looking to get advice on how I could do that the best way.
Hello? This is Cesars Concrete. Tyler Link speaking.
Oh, hi, like a cold, please.
What's up, man? Hormozi hotline. We've got.
So at this moment, I was basically freaking out because I get the chance to finally talk to basically one of my idols. He's taught me tons about business. And essentially over the next minute, this is the only section that I'm actually going to skip for you guys. I just filled him in on everything I already filled you guys in on. Essentially like the context of my business, what we were making, why I was in kind of a tough spot between the two companies. And I was trying to just like give him context. But because I already gave you guys that, let's just go ahead and jump forward and the rest will just kind of react here naturally. All right, let's kind of hop in here.
Percent margins. Literally all we have to do is fix the cash flow and or margin of the business. And then once we do that, we can then get you out of it and then ideally sell it. If that's what you, I mean, if that's dream.
Or get an offer.
Yeah.
So essentially like he's saying, hey, and he kind of agrees with me that if I want to get out of the business, I have to fix the margin and the cash flow of the business so I can hire potentially like a legit person or like bring in like a CEO, like a real one though, not like a cheesy one, like a real one, like someone who costs like say $300K a year. So that's essentially where we're at. Let's dive in.
Which would you rather sell it or just keep it in cash flow?
Keep it in cash flow,
Okay,
mainly for my family, because my mother-in-law wants to take over my position. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So then walk me through, because
Yeah, just so you guys have context about my family and stuff. So I own the business with my father-in-law, and he does not want to do anything else with his life, which is why I do not want to sell the business. And on top of that, my brother-in-law really wants to come into the business one day. And it's basically like his dream to basically take over my spot within the company. Or ideally, he wanted to take over his dad's spot, and him and I were partners. But I've already announced that basically my long-term vision is to work exclusively with Concrete CO.
I'm going to guess that you have a pricing issue. That's going to be my guess here. That typically happens in that style business, especially when it's handed down multiple generations.
By the way, it's not handed down, guys.
Interestingly enough,
I bought in.
The market has changed a lot, in the last 10 years. And how old is the business?
The business is 14 years old, and I came 8 years ago.
Yeah. So I would guess how many times is price raised and by what percentage from year 1 to year 14?
Oh man, like since then we've like tripled prices.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
Our gross profit's actually like 50%, which is way above industry average. But
all right.
I feel like we're bleeding money out of the back end.
Let me pause you.
Because I haven't been.
Let me pause you real quick. I want you to erase one term from your vocabulary forever, which is industry average.
Okay.
No, everyone's broke, dude. Why would you American average is in debt, fat, and divorced twice. Like, who gives?
So, the funny part is like, as I'm watching this back, I realized that I fell into like the same trap because I want to give you guys even more context. When I was about 2 years into business, I had this realization what Alex Hormozi just talked about. Essentially, I got into business. I was doing $1.2 million in 2 years, after I partnered with my father-in-law. And we were doing everything the same as all the concrete companies. We were charging the same. We were estimating the same. And my life sucked. I was dead broke. I didn't know what was going on. And that's when I had my first realization ever that the problem was not that I was doing something wrong. It was basically that I was following everyone else and not realizing that if you follow the industry average sucks. They work 60, 70-hour weeks. They're broke. They have shitty lives. You do not want to do what's average because the average business owner does not have a good life.
It's shit what the industry average is. Like, there are people who are printing in every industry. So I just the reason I hate it is because...
Yeah, so essentially if you want to make the most money possible, you have to be part of like the top 10 to 5%. Like you don't, and the top 10 to 5%, to be extraordinary, you have to be extraordinary. You can't just be ordinary.
It basically lowers our acceptable bar, what we believe to be good enough.
Right. Okay.
And it frames all of our decisions around, well, it's better than this. Well, of course we're better. Like, beating everyone is the standard. Obviously we beat everyone. But it's us against us. So I just I hear zero about what the average is. Anyways, sorry, just a bleep break for you. Anyways, so you're running 50% gross margins, and then you have 40% is what's, and the gross margins are.
It feels like that's pretty inefficient, and I feel like the main reason it's inefficient is because I'm not focusing on it full time because I have my marketing.
Yeah, so keep in mind, guys, when I say that I'm making 10%, that's 10% in at least in my opinion, the main reason is because I'm focused on my marketing agency. If I were to essentially fire some of the people who run my concrete company and come over and take over that job, like I would say at minimum overnight, we could go from 10% to like 15 to 20% net margins. One, because I'm going to be dropping those salaries. And two, because me as the owner, I'm just going to do a better job than the people that I hired to run my business on my behalf.
So I feel like I'm caught between like a rock and a hard place here.
Oh, concrete.
I want to give up on the family business.
Yeah, it's rock and concrete.
There you go.
No, I hear you, dude. I mean, you're in a tough spot because the concrete business is in what we refer to affectionately as the swamp. So the reason that it's in the swamp, you understand. I mean, you are experiencing the math example, but I'm going to give you a little bit more time because your thing's going to be really relevant to a lot of people. So when you have a business that's between 1 and 3 million, you're at 4, whatever, but like right in that ballpark. Okay. If you have a 10% or 20% margin business, then you've got $400,000, $800,000 a year in profit. And so in order to get to the next level, one of two things, there's more work that must be done. And so option one is that you work that next job. You do 2 full-time jobs, your current job and the next job. Or you take a massive bet and you bring someone in, but that next person you take a massive bet on because they absorb half or more of the profit of the business.
Yeah, and so essentially, like, I want you guys to kind of understand, because he's 100% right. So I want you to kind of think about, so I have people that are running the day-to-day of my concrete company, but they're not handling like the really high level things like managing salespeople, managing the team. I still have to be there to kind of hold the team accountable. I'm like the actual manager. Okay. I'm not involved in the day-to-day, but I'm the manager. So if our business is profiting, say $400,000 a year, and this is exactly what Alex Hormozi is talking about, because either I have to double down, which for me is not possible because I have my marketing agency and that's where I want to spend my time, or I essentially have to spend all of the business's income, just say $300,000 a year, to hire a high level person who I don't know. And it's an absolute massive risk. Because what happens if that person comes in and totally F's up the business, right? It's a huge risk, which is why it's such, I'm sure that's why they call it the swamp, right? Because essentially it's like you don't either have enough time to scale it up yourself, or you absolutely have to, and you don't really have enough money to hire like a legit individual. And it's just super risky.
And that's why it's the rock in the hard place when you're at that spot. That's why it's called the swamp. It's very difficult. Like, it's difficult because you just have to like take a massive risk, or you just have to basically just risk your personal life and sacrifice it in order to get ahead. But right now you have this other mistress that you're seeing on the side, and you just can't work double time to get over the hump.
And I want her to be my wife.
I love all of his analogies.
I hear you. But this other girl's your baby mama, right? She's got your kid. She's in your life forever. So that was perfect. Side note.
Thank you for saying about that.
yeah, that was a great set. Okay, so what do we do with baby mama? So we still need a way we need to improve cash flow. And part of it's going to come from pricing. And the other part of it probably comes from operational efficiencies, probably a combination of those things. So talk me through your pricing process right now for how you bid your deals. And also just tell me, who are you doing concrete for?
Mainly homeowners.
Okay, great. Oh, so residential, you're going to have way more power. Way more power.
By the way, I want you guys to kind of notice that, because like, so keep in mind, and a lot of you guys may think differently, because a lot of people, their goal is to get into residential and then move to commercial. What I thought was like pretty sweet about this video is he's actually excited that I'm in residential. And it's the main reason that I like residential too, and why I work for a lot of residential concrete companies. Because selling to someone who owns a house, they think beyond like a scope, right? Like they think with emotion. And that gives you leverage to then charge more money and essentially make more money being in business, which like that's why we're all in business, is to make money. I know multiple people that are in commercial concrete that are doing $5, $10, $15 million a year. And yeah, they make good money, but they are 100% tied to the business. It's super hard to replace them. And don't get me wrong, you could have an amazing commercial business, but there you thrive on operational efficiency versus homeowners, you could thrive on marketing and sales efficiency.
That's great.
So mainly homeowners, and as far as how we price our projects, it's all like on a custom project basis on like man hours times our man hour hourly rate plus materials times market.
Yeah.
So it's really complex, which is maybe why we've had like a hard time like getting other people to sell it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to point that out really fast, is that's one of the other huge problems that we're having in our business, is that's part of the reason that I can't leave. Because we need really good salespeople to sell our product based on our current model. Because despite what Alex Hormozi is saying, I mean, like the industry average is 30%. We're at 50%, which means I almost make double per project as my competitors. But keep in mind, I'm always 40, 50, sometimes double, like 40 to 50% more, if not double, than my competition. And so right now, the way that we have our sales process structured, it takes someone really skilled to sell it, which is why it's so hard for me to leave, because I can't just hire any, Joe Blow off the street and he's going to come in and step in and be able to sell our product with good efficiency.
So we need to switch from cost plus pricing to value-based pricing.
So the customer doesn't see that. We present the total price. That's just how we come up with the price.
Well, of course. Well, right. Yeah, that's
more important.
Yeah. Like they don't even see it. And so the goal, you want the price to be as high as humanly possible without getting the salesperson to crack a smile. Okay. That's our goal here.
We're laughing already.
Yeah. No, but I say that's somewhat in jest. But the main point here is that the sweet spot on pricing is not where we close the most deals, but where we hope to make the most money.
Man, that is so key here. And this is something that I already understand. You guys will see why I'm in my position here in just a little bit, so kind of hang on tight. But that makes so much sense. And a lot of people, I cannot tell you guys how many concrete guys that I talk to, and they think that the way to make the most money is to get the most yeses. But in reality, it's to make the most money, which oftentimes mean that your close rate will go down, and you have to be okay with people saying no. But essentially, like based on your pricing, you'll make the most money if your close rate falls down a little bit, but you're getting a lot more on the back end, essentially. Like that's such a huge thing. That took me forever to learn.
Which means that we should expect to lose more deals and make more money. Because if you were to raise your prices, again, like you understand the math here, if you were to raise your price by 10% consistently, you double the profit of the business.
The reason why he's saying that, by the way, is because I have 10% margin. So if I double my prices by 10%, all of that 10% goes straight to the bottom line. Essentially everything else staying the same. So a 10% price increase is actually a double in profit. Pretty powerful.
Right. So you have a massive opportunity here. And so and you're making up, the customer doesn't even know what the hours are.
Right.
So who cares?
Yeah.
Right?
He's about to find out actually why I'm nervous about that.
Man, is it really a pricing thing? So you really think it's a pricing thing and not the operational efficiency?
Oh, I'm sure.
I think I should focus on fixing that before
it will be easier.
On growing the agency.
It will be easier. Well,
by the way, guys, so the whole reason why he says to fix my sales process first is because it's easier. I also see so many people doing this. They come to me and they're like, oh, I have to fix all my systems before I just increase marketing and I make more money. It's like, dude, you know which one is literally I can come in and blow up someone's lead flow in 2 weeks to a month, and which will fix all of their problems because they could raise their pricing and blah, 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 blah. But then instead they decide they're like, no, I'm going to spend 3 years systematizing everything in my business before I actually do anything. That doesn't really make sense. You always want to go for the most low hanging fruit in your business, and then you fix the actual bottleneck later. Keep in mind, the only reason I grew to $4 million is because I ignored some of these systems, and we grew to a certain spot where now I have to fix one of the systems that's broke. But that's how I grew so fast, is you don't always have to fix everything right away. You just fix what's going to give you basically the most return on your time and your attention.
Yes, because right now, baby mama needs her alimony and she needs her child support, right? And so you've got to take care of her because you made the decision that you're going to stay in this kid's life forever, right? You want to be a good dad, that's fine. I respect that because you're trying to be a good son, realistically, in this situation, right? And so operational efficiency, for sure, a great way to improve a business in general. Great idea. Which one's easier? For sure, sales process and pricing, because you can do that immediately.
Yeah.
You can literally, it takes a week of training for the sales guys, maybe. And then you just say a different number at the end of the conversation.
But
As we come up with our price,
I feel really bad I cut Tron off there.
We don't present it in person to the customer, and I feel like that's like a huge problem and why our close rates could be so low. Would you agree?
See,
What are your close rates?
they're about to find out.
10%.
Oh, my goodness.
We have a sales motion issue.
So we fit. That's the real issue. Okay, that's the real issue. And now it's about to get super juicy because this is how this is the actual thing to fix the business. And what I'm going to give you guys at the end is what we're actually going to do to fix our sales motion that I think you guys will find very valuable.
Yeah. So the reason that you're hesitant to do prices is because the sales process sucks. That's the issue.
It's already like our close rate's already so bad, so it's kind of hard to imagine it getting worse.
Hurt.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah. So we have to. So in order of operations here, fix sales motion. Number one. Number two, change pricing the way we are doing our pricing. Number three, once we do those two things, like the nice thing that you have right now is you have a gigantic opportunity, which is exciting because if you're closing 10%, you could probably get a triple there. You could probably get to 30%, maybe even 40%, right? If you're doing a good job. And you could add 10% to your price consistently, easily. And by doing that, you would have an 8x sitting in your business.
That's creative.
8.
He doesn't describe this, so let me so for a lot of you guys that don't understand what he's saying, I've already done the math because, I'm watching this back, obviously. So think about this, right? If I keep the same amount of leads in my business and I go from closing 10% of them to 40% of them, that means in my existing business with changing nothing on lead flow, I'm going to go from $4 million up to $6 million of revenue. Okay. And keep in mind, with doing that, if I change nothing else, that means that my bottom line would go to $1.6 million. Granted, if I actually was doing $16 million in revenue, we would gain a lot of operational efficiency. So in reality, my margin will also move up. But what he also said is if you raise prices by 10%, so then I'm going to go up to say $17 million in revenue. But now instead of 10% profit, I'm going to be at 20% profit. So 20% profit of $16 million is like $3.2 million. So that's kind of what he's saying is I could literally go from $500,000 of income to $3 million of income by just fixing the sales motion. That's why I love business, because if you fix the actual issue, the results are literally ridiculous. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes her sound more attractive too.
Yes, it is more attractive.
I still love my marketing. That is more attractive.
I will say this. Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If you were to fix this,
so this part doesn't really matter.
4 to 14. Okay, that's thing one. Now, if we also were able to implement I'll just say 10%, which is still, it's absurd. I think you go more than that. But you have a 10% price raise. Okay. Now we're going from, we have a 3.5x on 500K. So it's really a 3.5x on $1 million. So we're doing 3.5 million in EBITDA now.
Yeah, there's that 3 million.
Does this become more interesting?
The obvious answer is yes, but I'm still not in love. And mainly, to be fair, we can't just sell that much overnight. We do have a bunch of capital expenditures.
Yeah, keep in mind, the reason why I don't get super excited, because a lot of people, they say that, why are you running a marketing agency and a coaching agency if you can't just make a lot of money in concrete? I can. But it's also, I do value what I actually enjoy doing. Okay. So I enjoy marketing. I enjoy coaching. I enjoy consulting. It literally just it's more fun for me. So it's not just about money. The other big thing is obviously if I 5x my sales or 4x my sales, it's not quite that simple. And you guys in concrete obviously understand that. I have to increase my equipment. I have to hire more concrete guys. It's just going to be a ton of work. So yeah, it's clear path to money, but I still have to decide if that's actually the route that I want to go in my life, right? So just because something's clear, you also don't have to do it, okay? That's the best part about being a business owner is you can do whatever the heck you want.
But
okay, well, we'll deal with that constraint.
Obviously, it sounds.
We'll deal with that constraint because there's also in your industry, there's tons of financing partners that will help with that side.
It's true.
But if you were to do that, and if you were to get crazy, because that's what we're going to do, because why not, right? And you were to do a 20% price raise, not a 10% price raise, that would give you a triple in profitability. Okay, so then all of a sudden that 1.5 times 3.5 becomes whatever, more than 5 million. I think it's like 6 or something like that. Okay. So it's like 5.7 or something like that million. If you got to 5.7, this company can sell for $30 million.
That's crazy.
Or you have enough dry powder to hire an operator.
Of course. You can do that. Okay.
Thank you, Sharon.
So let's just because I don't have time to fix all these issues. We're just trying to focus on one of them. So right now, walk me through the sales process. I know this is good for other people who are listening, which is why I'm taking a little longer. Okay.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, we get a lead. They book an appointment with our.
This is the real juicy stuff.
Over the phone, we do like an initial discovery call where we also give rough pricing based on how that goes. Like if the customer's like, "Hey, cool, I like you guys. I like what you're about, and the price sounds good." Then we go out. We like see the job in person. We do actual measurements. Then they go all the way back to the office. Put everything, like put all the numbers together, and then email off the quote.
Bro, what are we doing? All right.
So it's so funny when I watch this back because I want to remind you guys, I'm just calling on the phone. My wife is actually the one that's recording this from her phone. So I had no idea that he actually like had this type of reaction because I was still kind of like just trying to stay in the moment and digest what he was saying.
All right.
This is not a pricing consultation. This is a sales process.
Okay. So here's what we're gonna do.
Stressing them out.
We're just never gonna email quotes ever again. Let's just write.
So keep in mind, so just that, we'll get into this here in just a little bit, but yeah, even just that, again, 90% of people just email quotes, which I was one of them. But again, just showing you guys, and we'll kind of go through
I
this.
solemnly swear that I will never email a quote to a customer again.
Okay, I have my hand on my chest.
Okay, thank you. So here's what's gonna happen. So what you're going to do is on that set call, which is what it is, you're going to qualify the customer and you're going to give a range that's super sky high. All right. So you're like, it could be between 5,000 and 50,000. And honestly, it's going to depend a lot on what you got going on. When I get out there, I'll have a much better idea because honestly, if I were to give you a quote right now, it'd be like me telling you what's wrong with your car and you haven't run in the shop yet. That makes sense? Of course it does. And you know what? If somebody gives you a hardcore quote right now over the phone, I'd run the other way. Right? And so then you position against, it gives you more authority, and then they're like, oh, I love these guys, they're great. Okay. That's the set, right?
The second part of that is actually the most important because they're talking to multiple people and you thwart that completely.
Yeah. You hammer them. So then you say, and to be clear, the way that we do this is that when we come in person, because we
very important part.
We pride ourselves on our speed, we're going to come out with the intention of collecting the deposit, like basically giving the quote and collecting the deposit so we can get this going.
Okay.
So we set the intention that we close at the visit. And dude, your in-person, like if you do nothing else, your in-person close rate is going to be 3 times higher than your email close rate. Not even a question.
Yeah, I mean, if we did that, that would solve all of that business's problems, which then would allow me to hire an operator.
That's right.
If we fix our close rate.
Good job, man.
Yeah.
Pew pew. Okay, great.
So the rest of it's just kind of closing stuff. Doesn't really get into too much here. But yeah, essentially, guys, that's what I figured out and that's why I love bottleneck analysis in a business is it's trying to figure out what the actual bottleneck is. And then if you solve that, it fixes all the other problems. Because again, a lot of people, like they're doing $1 million a year and they're like, oh, it's my systems that are broke. I'm like, no, dude, you just like don't have enough lead flow and you have to close 60% of your deals to make any money. And so like, that's your biggest problem. Like, it's why I love paying like the $24,000 investment. One, I get a 6-month program, but just in the first 10 minutes talking to Alex Hormozi, guaranteed if I fix this, which I feel very confident, it will for sure pay for it. But so essentially here are my steps to get better. I have to fix my sales motion. So there's a couple things that I want to point out. Number one is I will not be doing hardcore pre-qualification over the phone. Essentially what I will be doing is I will be making sure that they're serious, which that's essentially why Alex Hormozi is saying, hey, I just want you to understand, if I come out there, I am going to attempt to get you on the schedule. Because they have to understand, like, I'm not effing around. Like, I'm not coming out there and just doing a song and dance and then just patting on the buttons, just saying, oh yeah, if you want to call me in 5 years. No, it's like I'm coming out there to try to figure out a solution to move you forward. So number one, do I do your projects? Number two, are you serious? Number three, I need all the decision makers there because we are not going to allow for essentially someone to make up that excuse. Oh, I got to talk to my wife. I got to talk to my spouse, etc. So that's step one. Step two is when we get out there. Okay, this is actually what I'm going to be fixing is number one, we need a way to present price in person. So I'm actually going over like a lot of people. That's why they don't do it because they have to go home and take all the time to calculate stuff. So I'm working on a more efficient way to price. The other thing, and this wasn't discovered in the video, this is actually what I've learned through some of the consulting on the back end, but you need to give people options so that way it's not them comparing if they're going to work with you or a competitor. They just decide in what way they want to work with you. So for instance, we're going to come out with an even more expensive product That's going to be a price anchor. So it's saying, essentially, think about a $15,000 driveway. The first thing that I'm going to present is actually a $30,000 driveway. And I'm going to say, hey, this is our holy smoking blah, 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 blah. And it's $30K. And the whole point is to get them to basically poop their pants and gasp. Okay. And it's going to be 6 inches thick with number 4 rebar and 18-inch center. And we're going to include sealing it 3 times, like all kinds of stuff. But the whole point is get them to gasp, because I want them to compare not my price to my competitors, but this product compared to where I actually want them to buy, which is my bread and butter product. So then I'll pitch them that, right? $15K. If they don't accept that, then I'm going to give them a downsell too. So now instead of them saying, oh man, which company do I want to go with? It's which product, okay? And then if they still don't say that, I say, well, hey, do you actually like want this? Is it just the money? If they're like, yeah, well, now we're going to have financing to downsell them on the back end, okay? And create some incentives on essentially to move forward fast. So that's essentially like the long and short of it. I'll come out with more videos on that later. And for people that are paying me, who are actually my consulting customers, my marketing customers, they're going to get the benefit of getting all of the juicy stuff in super exclusive detail on the back end because they're paying customers. So speaking of which, if you guys want to improve your business, then look into some of my programs because we got some banging stuff coming out. Not only that we've had in the past, but in the future, where you can basically take it and just like Alex Hormozi, I gave him $24,000, I'm going to make millions return. That is my goal that I have with you guys too. But anyways, with that being said, just this YouTube video and this reaction, I really hope that this was valuable for you guys, that you guys got a lot of info. I'll leave, number one, some of my offers down below if you guys want to look into that. But also, I did buy 800 books. So if you guys want a free $100 million money model, you just have to pay for the shipping. I will leave that down below. Leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified with more of these videos. I'll catch you on the next one.